Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. This is podcast number 7. I'm TT, your host, and this is Pastor Julio. And he's joining us today to talk about something real heavy, but good at the same time. Pastor Julio, would you like to introduce yourself and what you do here at GCC?
Sure. So my name's Julio, and I get to pastor at Grace Community Church.
Pew, 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 pew.
That's right. I've been pastoring here about 15, 16 years, and so it's been a great journey. It's a privilege to get to be a leader amongst equals, and glad to be here tonight. I'm excited. Thanks for the invite.
Yes. Totally last minute, but so worth it. Today we are going to dive into a topic that is personal, but also you bring a professional aspect to it. So it is about healing the wounds of the past, and it's a path forward to emotional and spiritual freedom. The first question I wanted to ask is, do you recall a time or remember a time where a wound was created and it had a lasting impact on you?
Yeah, I do. I can remember a few, actually. If I were going to just take like a broad one, like a pretty general one, my dad was also a pastor.
Yes.
And that carries along with it a lot of pieces, right? Expectations, other church folks looking at the pastor's kid to see about their behaviors and whatever else. But I think one of the things that for me was a big deal was my dad was really busy, and so he would be doing church things in the evening. He'd have meetings or discipleship or counseling or evangelism or whatever it was, but then he'd have other things like when he'd have to travel. So I always felt when I was younger, when I was a kid, I always felt like I didn't have enough time. Like I felt like everyone else had him and had time with him. And I felt that it was impinging on my time with him. And that became like a narrative in my heart. And so then every time my dad was like, oh, I can't come to this and that, it would trigger that. And I would just be like, oh yeah, no, of course, per usual. And that kind of started to harden, over time.
Yeah, that's tough. And I would feel that on a niece level, because I'm also his niece.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, because that's not easy.
Sure.
And how is it now? Do you see now that you're a pastor, like how have you handled that now that you've been in his shoes?
Yeah, I can answer this in a couple different angles if you don't mind. So one angle was, I think one angle was just being honest with that wound, that it was there. Because I remember when I was moving away for college and I was going off to New York, and for whatever reason, I had spent time with my mom, and I was like, Mom, I love you and I'm going to miss you, etc. And then I had a time with my dad, just with him. I took my time to go with each parent. And when I was talking to my dad, I remember saying to him, hey Dad, I've had this kind of like this anger or bitterness or something that I don't like. It's in my heart, and it's about not spending time with you. And I wanted to first say I'm sorry for holding this against you, but also forgiving you, because I know that you would want to do it differently as well. Like with age, my dad has also been like, I should have spent more time with you guys. I could have pulled back a little bit on ministry. And so cool. I thought, great, we're good, we're done. But it wasn't. And you know why? It's because I was rationalizing my wound. Like I would tell myself, oh, he's doing a good thing. He's saving souls. He's saving marriages. He's preaching the gospel. So I was using logic to soothe myself. But the thing is that the wound wasn't in my mind. The wound was in my heart. And I was trying to use my mind to rationalize that, to like feel better about it. So it took an emotional healing, or healing the wound in my heart, for it to be, for it to like really take, which was a process. It wasn't like this one-time thing. And as I talk about process, the process became developmental, growing, becoming older, having my own kids.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember recently, not so recently, but like maybe like a couple of years ago, having a conversation with my dad about this and being like, you know what, Dad, I'll be honest with you. Now that I have kids, I don't think it doesn't matter what you would have done. Even if you would have quit work and stayed with me 24/7, it still wouldn't be enough. Because as a kid, you have expectations of your parents that aren't realistic. It wasn't realistic that he was going to be there at every baseball game, every concert, every event. It's unrealistic, And so I realized, man, I was thinking about that situation through the mind and the heart of a child.
Yes.
And I wasn't wrong for it. I was a child.
Right.
But it wasn't until I had my own kids and I realized, it doesn't matter how much time I give these cats, they're still going to complain and want more. And that's just the nature of a kid, so there was that aspect too.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that this is not an easy topic. So, and I'm also processing.
I'm here for all of it.
Yeah.
It's a podcast, it's therapy,
Ooh, therapy sessions with family. By the way, in case you didn't know, he's my cousin. And our dads are brothers. So I've known this man my whole life, and he's known me for 35 years. Yeah. So I relate a lot to what he's saying. And though I wasn't in that experience that you had growing up, because obviously we lived in two different households, but it's good to talk about these things.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah. Based on the past experience, how did you handle, based on that experience, how did you handle that from a biblical perspective?
That's such a great question. I would have to say, what comes to mind is honor your father and your mother. Those of us that have grown up in church, we know this passage, this command. And there's a promise built into it. Honor your father and your mother, that it may go well with you. You would live a long life, right? As a child, I made that connection. Oh, my dad's never here. But then when I went into adolescence is when something happened in me. And I think it's fairly common in adolescence, but it was like, oh, you don't want to be around? Watch this. And start to act out, start to have your season of rebelling, of differentiating, wanting to be your own individual. And in that, because I carried this thing, right, this kind of like this wound in my adolescence and maybe like teenage, that kind of that awkward time in everyone's life of growing and hormones and whatnot, I started to fight a little bit more with my dad, or argue or disagree, or want to show him that I was right or show him that I was stronger. And those that are into psychology might say it was the Oedipal complex happening. But it was that kind of thing. Every time I had an opportunity to point it out, I would, because now I had a voice. Now I'm grown, right? Whatever I was thinking in that time. But I was having a conversation with someone who, and by the way, I want you to know, like, I have a great relationship with my dad. Respect, love my dad. Wouldn't change anything about our growing up. I understand a lot of things now a lot better. But I had a conversation with someone who their dad was not a great dad, like a lot of troubles and a lot of abuses and things like this. And this person was saying to me, I have every excuse to hate my father and to act out against him. I have that excuse or that right or whatever. And he said, but I still don't, because scripture teaches me or instructs me, commands me to honor my father and my mother. And it doesn't say if they're good parents. Honor your father and your mother. If it just says do it. And I thought, wow, this person has every reason to totally bypass that. And generally people would be like, yeah, no, I get it. You have every right to. And so it made me kind of reflect and be like, man, what are you doing? Who are you? You had a really, really solid kind of, family life. Cut the tape.
Oh, that's good. That's good wisdom. Yeah. In our previous podcast with Daniel and I, we talked a little bit about that, about honoring your mother and your father, and with our parents, like, it wasn't the best situation, yet we did. And it's hard, but we still do, because we obviously still have one parent. She's still with us, and we're honoring that because it's a commandment. We gotta honor it if we're Christians. So, even if you're not a Christian.
I hear that. Yeah. I think even if you're not a follower of Christ or a follower of the Bible, there's an argument or a case to be made. Whatever the circumstances, these individuals gave you life. These individuals were vessels in you coming into being. Just being alive is a blessing, right? Being alive and being not alive is winning. And these folks, for better or for worse, and they might have their struggles, etc. And I don't downplay that, right? But for better or for worse, these folks gave of themselves in some fashion, biological or emotional or what have you, for you to be here, and just by virtue of that, of they made me, there's a certain level of respect, of honor that I can do. And that might look different for everyone in different situations, but honoring them doesn't necessarily mean you agree with them, doesn't even necessarily mean you're best friends with them, but there's this certain level of respect, of knowing, I come from you, and by virtue of that,
I like that. What would you say are key points or how can we identify if we have unhealed emotional wounds?
Yeah. I like to just kind of give this example. I have a cut on my finger that's pretty prominent. It's a pretty big, ugly scar.
I see it.
And when I cut my finger, I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. And so I went and I grabbed the oil rag that my dad had in the basement and I covered it up. But it kept bleeding, right? And I was hiding it from my parents. So then it started to like stink and get like white. It's got infected. So when I told my parents, look, you guys told me not to do this, I did it and ended up getting cut. My mom used this thing. I don't know how to say it in English, and I don't even know if it exists anymore, but it was a little brown bottle, like the old medicine bottles that were brown, and on the inside it was this red thing called mertiolate.
Okay.
That thing. Listen, when I tell you it burned,
worse than like Sepol?
oh my goodness, yes,
Vaporu?
yes. She got mertiolate. She put it on this thing, and I was jumping. I was jumping from the pain and the burn. Right? Okay. So then, after some time, like it got a scab, but it was dry. It was dry, and it got a scab. And of course, they tell you don't pick the scab because that's when it's healing, and then the scab falls off once the wound doesn't need it. So now I have this wound, I have this scar, this symbol, and I can touch it, I can show it to you, I could tell you the story, and I'm good. I'm okay. When a wound isn't properly healed, it's infected. Same for an emotional wound.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't heal that properly, it will remain infected. It's not just going to automatically heal well without intentionality. And then for healing it well, you need to clean it, which means you gotta maybe open that, maybe add something that cleans out the infection, and that might burn, that might hurt, opening that up. But with time, I think you start to get a scab, which is like, it's healthier, it's dry. The interesting thing that I love about the scab is that it falls off once your body doesn't need it anymore. And I think with emotional wounds, we protect those areas that are sensitive. We have defense mechanisms. We have ways of coping, healthy or unhealthy. But once healing has happened underneath, you don't need those things anymore. A lot of times in mental health, we try to address that top layer. Right? But if we actually went to healing underneath, that defensiveness or those coping skills that are negative, they would just fall away because they're no longer needed, because true healing happened underneath. And so once the scab falls, I'm able to talk about it, poke at it, and there isn't hurt. When there's a wound that has not been properly healed, you can't talk about it. Other people can't talk about it because you feel a recoil inside. If you're still reactive about that topic, it hasn't healed. It's probably infected, and we need to really address that.
No, those are truths and facts. Just because I recognize that there's some wounds that are still infected emotionally, and I'm now addressing them.
Good.
So
good.
That's key point.
I would just shout out to mental health counselors.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Therapy is a good thing.
It is. Yeah. It is. It's very important. When you come to that point in your life and you recognize that you need that, I encourage you to reach out to a professional. Look for who they are. Resources are out there. Shout out to Rooted Souls in Frederick, Maryland. They're currently helping me, and I love my therapist. She's really great. Yeah. And I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.
I sense that perhaps we could do a part 2. So comment on this video if you want a part 2. If you don't mind coming back.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me.
Yeah. We're going to end this video here. And we thank you guys for listening to us. We will see you in the next podcast, and have a great night. Thank you. This is the fun part. This is the fun part. Nice. Something a professional could ask or could answer.
Who's me?
Yeah, you. Be yourself. Be yourself.
Be yourself. That's not how it goes, right? It's be our guest.
Yes. Hey, but it works.
There we go. Already messing up. 10 seconds into the podcast, I'm already messing up.